All right, we are doing our notes for 2.1.7. Make sure you're on your right side. You need to start with the essential question. How can I record my work when simplifying maths? And then I would say you can go ahead and copy this split down. This is going to be your entire right side. So we're going to split it in half. The left side, we're going to draw expression mats. Maybe don't write all the steps out yet, but maybe just get your expression mats written down. So we'll pause, get the essential question. How can I record my work when simplifying maths? And then go ahead and get this setup started. Being able to, on the left, split our paper in half, left side, draw these expression mats, right side, we're going to be working on the steps. And again, this can be your whole right side. Okay, so basically what we are learning today is we want to move away from needing to use these tiles and draw these pictures every time. While they're helpful, it takes a long time to do it. It's laborious. It takes a while. So we're going to learn how to make connections between our pictures and doing it just with numbers and letters. This will be a challenge, but it's our first step in moving forward. So the first thing I did for you that I already did is I gave you your first picture and I wrote the names of what those pictures said. Notice that I have highlighted the part that is in the opposite of zone. Remember that we know that because of those parentheses with the negative sign in front of it. That's important that we write that correctly. So you're going to be mad at me because last week I said we were doing it in this order and now I'm changing the order. Normally we do zeros first, but for the sense of needing to do this with the numbers, it is going to be easier to flip your tiles first and then do the zeros. I know that zeros make sense to do first on the picture, but when we aren't using the pictures anymore, it makes more sense to flip first. So this time, our first step is flipping. The steps are the same, we're just doing them in a different order. So step one is flipping. On my picture, we know that that means you take everything, do this with me, everything in the opposite of zone, we move it up, and we flip the tile colors, right? If it was red, it's blue. If it was blue, it's red. So let's draw our next tile. Everything that was up top is still the same. So I had one blue unit tile and everything else was red because unfilled is red. So I had one blue and 3 red plus 2 red X's. Okay, now we need to figure out what's going to happen to those bottom tiles. Right now, on the bottom, I have 3 blue unit tiles. When I move them up top, they need to flip. So I need to move my 3 blue unit tiles, or those 3 filled in gray unit tiles, up to the top and flip them. Now they are 3 red unit tiles. Okay, down below, I have a red X tile. I need to flip that up to the top, and when I move it up top, it changes colors. So if it's red down here, it's going to come up, and it's going to need to be a blue X tile. So there is the left side totally flipped. Now let's look at the right side. Again, I'm going to start by just redrawing the top section. So I have 2 blue unit tiles up top and 3 red unit tiles up top to start. Now I need to flip. I have 2 red unit tiles in the bottom right now. I want to move them up and flip them. When I do that, they go from 2 red tiles, flip them up here. Now I need 2 blue unit tiles. And then the last thing I need to flip is I had a blue X tile down here. Gonna move it up, flip it, so it was blue. Now I'm moving it up and it needs to be red. So there are your two pictures after we have flipped correctly. Let's look at what we do with our numbers for flipping. So flipping involves that bottom unit. So I've highlighted the parts that we're going to use. Stuff that stays the same. So I'm looking at the right side here now. I still have negative 2x plus 1 minus 3 because that was my top zone. Now I am dealing with this highlighted stuff. This stuff was flipped, which means whatever was in the parentheses is going to become the opposite of it. It changed, right? This was a red X tile. I flipped it over here and made it a blue X tile. So I'm going to rewrite this highlighted stuff, but I'm going to switch all the signs on it. So now I have plus X minus 3. And I'm going to highlight that. I would like you to use these highlighters to help you know what you're doing in each step. So I went from those parentheses to flipping everything and taking it out of parentheses. And you'll notice that that matches the part that we flipped. So we'll pause here for questions. Okay, let's do it on that red side now. So I still have 2 minus 3. That didn't change. Now I need to change this highlighted part. I need to flip these tiles. So this is a positive X. When I flip it, it's going to be a negative X. This is minus 2. When I flip it, it's going to become positive 2, which is what we did over here, minus X, positive 2. So I need to write it as minus X plus 2. Use my highlighter to show what step I just did. And again, that is that part of your picture. Questions on flipping? Okay, so now we are going to move on to the step you guys are most familiar with on our picture side. So looking over here at our left mat, we need to find some zeros. So I'll pause here and you guys can help me, or we'll find our zeros together. So looking for zeros, since everything is in the same zone, I know that all I need is different colors. So I have that here with those unit tiles, and I have that here with those X tiles. So those are gone, those are gone. So let's redraw that down below with what's left. I'm left with a total of 5 red unit tiles and 1 red X tile. Okay, now I'm going to do my zeros on this side. So again, looking for opposite colors, I can match these up. Those will create a 0. And I actually have one more. I can match these up and create a 0. Now we're going to redraw what we have left, which is 1 red X tile and 1 blue unit tile. Okay, what does that look like in numbers? So I'm going to rewrite, I'm going to take what I did here and rewrite it under this balance 0, just so that I'm consistent. So I have minus But you know what I'm going to do to make it easier, actually? I'm going to rewrite this in the correct order. So I have minus 2x. Do I have any more x's? Yes. So plus x. Then I have plus 1 minus 3 minus 3. Okay, and I'm going to rewrite the other side in the correct order. Remember, x's go first, followed by units. I have negative x plus 2 minus 3 plus 2. All right, here's the part where I told you combining like terms isn't going anywhere. When we create zeros on a mat, all we're really doing is combining like terms. So let's look and use our highlighting colors to combine some like terms. Orange is fine. So on the blue side, I have negative 2x that I can combine with x. So when I put those together, what am I going to be left with? Hopefully you're saying I'm going to be left with just x. Okay, I also have some units I can combine right here. These can all be combined together. So I have plus 1 minus 3 minus 3. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. Minus 3 more is negative 5. So x minus 5. That came from here. That came from there. So surprise, the whole time you've been doing zeros, what you've really been doing is combining like terms. And you'll notice that what we have written here matches your picture over here, except that that should be, hopefully maybe you already caught this, that should be negative x. Okay, let's combine terms on our right side. X is first. I only have the 1. That makes it easy. You just rewrite it. So minus x. Now I need to look at the unit tiles and combine those. This is why I rewrote this in this order to make it easier. All right, I've got plus 2 minus 3, that's negative 1, plus 2 more, plus 1. If you struggle with your negatives, adding and subtracting, that is something you need to work on. X plus 1. And again, you'll notice that what we have written here is what our picture shows down here. So if I wanted to, I could draw little arrows that show that this went here, and that showed me there. This got me that, and that got me that. So I know this is difficult, but we're trying to make connections from our pictures and move away from them into numbers, sorry. All right, next step, removing pairs. Okay, looking at my pictures, the only pairs that I see on both sides is a red X and a red X. I can't get rid of any of the unit tiles because this one's blue and these are red. That's not a perfect match. So what I'm gonna remove, matching pairs, and we should probably name each step. So this was zeros. This is gonna be removing pairs, sorry. Okay, like I said, I've got an X here that matches up with my X there. Get rid of them. All right, let's redraw our final mat. The left side, all we have left over is 5 negative unit tiles. The right side, we have 1 unit tile left over. So if we were to name our final picture, we want to end up with -5 and 1. Let's see if we can get there with our numbers. So going back to my removing pairs, step 3, I'm going to rewrite what I had left over from step 2. So I had negative x minus 5, and we have negative x plus 1. All right. So if you look at both of these, the thing that they both have is a negative x. So what I want you to do in this step is I want you to go and highlight anything that they have the same, if you can. Now, this is going to seem weird, but to get rid of this, the work I want you to show is making these zeros. So plus x, because that will create 0, and that will create 0. If that doesn't make sense, that's okay. Just think about these match, so they don't count and they're gone. So then we just write what we have left after we took this x out. We got rid of this x, we got rid of that x. We're left with negative 5, and we're left with 1. And if it asks, we know that 1 is greater than negative 5. So this is the end of our right side. I am guessing you probably feel like a pretty low 2 right now, and that's okay. We're going to get lots of practice with this. So make sure your right side is complete, and we'll pick up on the left side tomorrow. All right, so here's your left side. If you are in class, we'll do this together. If you miss class, I'll do this quickly so that you can check. You've got, so I've highlighted the flipping. I need to flip these tiles. I need to flip these tiles. So these are x squared tiles, which might make you confused, but don't worry, don't stress about it. It's not a big deal. So I need to draw what I have. Got an x squared, x, x, and I'm going to have one blue unit. Red, I had an x squared, and I have a unit and an x squared. When I write that, it's going to look like x squared minus x squared plus 2x. And then it's going to be minus x squared minus 1 plus 1. So here is what I flipped. Do it on the other side. I had a blue x, 3 blue unit tiles. When I flip those from the bottom up, I'm going to have a red x squared and a red unit tile, and one I already had. So there's the picture, and when I write it, I still have x plus 3 minus 1, and now I add minus x squared minus 1. And again, here is the part that got flipped. Now I need to do my zeros. So I'm looking for different colors. So there's a 0, there's a 0. I'll redraw that side. I still have an x squared, and I still have 2 blue x's. And on the other, or we'll do that on this side. So I'm going to rewrite this in the right order. X squared minus x squared minus x squared plus 2x minus 1 plus 1. Okay, if I'm combining like terms, I've got a bunch of x squareds to combine. 2x all by himself, and some units. So there's where my like terms are going to come from. This x squared minus x squared is 0, minus another becomes minus x squared, plus 2x, negative 1 plus 1 would be plus 0. Now I need to do it on the other side. Not as many zeros here. I get rid of some unit tiles. Those will be gone. What that looks like in numbers, if I write this in the correct order, negative x squared plus x plus 3 minus 1 minus 1. Need to combine like terms. X squared all by himself, x all by himself, and some unit tiles to combine. That should have been written there. Okay, so I still have negative x plus x, and 3 minus 1 is plus 1. And again, our pictures should match. This picture matches this picture matches here, this picture matches, and when I redraw, I have a red x squared, and I have a blue x and a blue unit that should match that. All right, we're moving some pairs. So things that are exactly the same. These both have red x squares, and these both have at least one blue x tile. So that stuff is going to be removed. I'll redraw what's left. On the left side, the only thing I have left is x. And on the right side, the only thing I have left is a unit tile. So my final name is x and 1. Okay, let's remove those pairs with numbers. So I need to rewrite minus x squared plus 2x. And on the other side, I had minus x squared plus x plus 1. I'm going to highlight what they have in common. They both have a negative x squared. And they both, this is where it gets a little tricky, they both have at least one x. So when I rewrite this, this side still has 1x. And when I rewrite the other side, all that's left is a 1. So that's why it can be helpful to write it like you are adding what you want to get rid of. So if I did plus x squared, we would have got 0 and 0. And if I had done minus x, then I would get just x, 0. But again, that's a little bit ahead of where we're at right now. Right now, you just need to see that you get rid of all the highlighted stuff, but there's 1 left in your x's over here. Get rid of all the highlighted stuff on that side, and you're left with plus 1. So your final mats are x and 1. All right, here's your final challenge. Can we do it without pictures? This is going to be hard. We'll do it one step at a time. All right, so the first thing is making the stuff that is highlighted opposites. So I still have negative 5. The opposite of plus 2y, minus 2y. The opposite of negative 4 is plus 4. And I will highlight the new stuff. So that became that. And I can't forget this little guy hanging off the edge. He is still minus 2. Now I need to do that on the other side. So negative y doesn't change. The stuff that's highlighted needs to flip. So this was a positive 1. I need to flip it, and it's minus 1. This is plus y. I need to flip it to minus y. And then I just need to make sure I don't forget about this little plus 4 sticking out on the end. He stays the same, highlighting what got changed like that. Okay, the next thing I need to do is 0. In order to make that easier, I want to rewrite it in the correct order. So y's come first. So I have minus 2y first. Maybe I put like a little line here that shows that that's that step. And then I have minus 5 plus 4 minus 2. Highlight what goes together. Combine like terms is the same thing as 0, so that's there. And then really all I'm combining is going to be these unit tiles. So when I rewrite it, still have negative 2y. Negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1. Minus 2 becomes minus 3. Okay, do the same thing on the other side. Rewrite it with the y's first. So minus y, and then minus 1 plus 4. Highlight your like terms. So I've got y's to combine, and I've got unit tiles to combine. Negative y and another negative y makes negative 2y. And negative 1 plus 4 is plus 3. Okay, there's the end of step 2. That's your zeros. That's your combining like terms. So I'm going to rewrite it for step 3. So minus 2y minus 3. And I'm trying to pair that up with minus 2y plus 3. Here's where it gets tricky. What is something they both have? They both have 2 negative y's. So I can remove 2 negative y's from both sides. Now it looks like they both have unit tiles, but if this was a picture, these would be red tiles, these would be blue tiles, and we can't make pairs with red and blue, so we don't pair those up. So these would be red tiles, and these would be blue tiles, and we know that they have to be the same color to be pairs. So really, we just end up getting rid of the 2 y's, and we're going to be left with negative 3 and positive 3. All right, I know we're going to need a lot more practice with this, and we're going to get it, but that is the end of your left side notes.